Hello, it is March. My name's Dano. That's Ice, and we are here on another episode of Dice It Up with a cool guest, Leslie Vorpahl. I'm saying that correctly, yes?
You are.
Let's go. I think, those listening now, I practiced for a good 10 seconds. Said my head over and over again.
You did.
A good friend of Ice's, a professional hooper out in London. How you doing today?
Doing great. Can't complain. Out in London. It's a good day.
I was so glad to know that you don't have a British accent, so I didn't have to fake mine real quick.
Yeah, I thought it'd be disappointing for you. Yeah, a lot of times people are like, "Oh, dang, you don't have a British accent." Maybe by the end of it, me and Ice will come out with some type of accent.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm working on mine over here.
You said "in it" already. That's a word that they use over here.
Bit, yep. And then good day. You say good morning, good day. Yep. Leslie, it's great to see you. It's great to see you. Thank you for coming on the show. Backstory. So I met Leslie this past summer. We did a camp together out in Dallas. It was like a professional and college basketball camp. Really select few, tight-knit group. We got super close from that, really stayed connected. And she plays overseas. We've stayed connected on our journeys overseas, but also what we do outside of basketball. And so just a very well-rounded person that I felt needed to be on our show so we can highlight overseas hoopers.
Love it. Thanks for having me. It means a lot. You're big time. And and from that camp, Ice was just one of definitely the more outspoken leaders and drove conversations and really asked good questions. And later on found she was into doing podcasts and commentary. And so it made sense. So, but yeah.
Ice can work a room and work a gym. That's for sure.
That's a good point. It's fair. It's well-rounded.
I appreciate that, Dano. So Leslie, tell us about you. Right now we know that you're, in London, but give us kind of your background and how you got to where you are now.
Yeah. So I'm born and raised from San Antonio, Texas, and then went to college at Tulane in New Orleans, 4 years there. And then, got an agent and hopped over the water. Played in Romania my first year, tore my ACL that year. So I went back to Tulane, got my master's there. And it was just a perfect kind of, it honestly was a perfect timing with everything and going back to my college and doing rehab there and getting my my master's paid for, and then being a graduate assistant coach with my old team. So I really, I loved, it was just a God's thing, all that happening all at once in the right time. So then I went back a year later to Germany, and then 2 years in Hungary, and then now here in London this season. So I feel we're considered veterans now.
Yes,
old. I'm 27 and we're considered old. So just trying to think in a little, but a little bit about the basketball.
So what were your experiences like in those countries? Because I feel like hearing that group, it's a lot of different cultures and different things going on. So what were your experiences like?
To be honest, I am just so thankful that I started in Romania, because I had nothing to kind of gauge it. And I was just kind of this ignorance was bliss. And I was this rookie, and I was oh, great. We have to walk every day to practice in the snow. Oh, great. We have to live in a dorm. Cool. And everything that wasn't ideal. Right. Now that I'm looking back to it, it was, I just kind of took it with a grain of salt, and I was this is just how it is over here. I'm living my dream. But the culture there is just, the people, my teammates were amazing. But the culture itself and just the vibe of it's always gray, and it's kind of, you kind of feel I don't want to say the depressed people of just the communists, just very, it was just very recent for them. It felt I don't know. You just felt a lot of that heaviness still. It wasn't the best. I didn't love it. You ate a lot of fried cheese and potatoes, and that was your pregame meal, So very strange. But then Germany was a lot better, a lot more modern, cool culture. Everyone was super friendly and just always had a beer in their hand, right?
Yep.
Oktoberfest, and there's all these carnivals, and very cool experience there. I was in a small town, which made it kind of cute and unique. And then Hungary was Budapest was like one of my favorite cities to ever be. And I wasn't in that city, but I would go there a lot, very close to it. And people were great. I spent a lot of like the Easters and the Christmas with like my teammates' families, and just to kind of feel their little culture out. And the league was on that one was probably by far the most competitive and fun. Every day you're playing against, a WNBA player or a couple, and it was never a night off, that's for sure. So loved the competitiveness there. And then London is just London. You really nothing bad to say about this. The league isn't as strong, but it's a comfortable place to live. You actually can engage with people and socialize and go out and meet friends and all that. So it's always stuff to do here. Probably London is probably one of my top places. I've already had like 3 people come visit, because people actually want to come visit you in London.
Yeah.
You did with Australia. Maybe not,
right.
But and the flight here was like a direct, so way easier to get on this side.
Yeah.
She didn't tell me that we were having a Texan on. Like
that's all. I should have stopped at the first word.
Yeah, like made my morning. I mean, like, how much do you miss breakfast tacos? Like,
oh my gosh, are you from Texas?
I'm from Houston, but my wife went to Alamo Heights.
You get it. Yes.
So I spend a month in San Antonio every year now.
Oh, very good. I do miss my breakfast tacos. Literally, funny story. I told my mom to bring like tacos and like refried beans over when she came. So we make it work.
Oh my goodness.
So I got some tortillas, like 100 stack in my freezer.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I also can't imagine like talking about playing in Germany with all the beer. I did 2 days at Oktoberfest. I think my digestive system is forever destroyed in that one weekend.
Yeah, I people would always say I don't like beer, so I kind of was saved in that regard. But people were like, "Oh, if you go to Germany, you're gonna love it." And I tried. Like I was like the dark ones, the light ones, the every color ones, and I was like, "This is awful." Just did not like it. But people got crazy. Right, Oktoberfest was crazy. That's right. Well, cool. A little Texan on. Look at us, 2 Texans
bonding.
And not to mention, who doesn't love New Orleans? God, have my bachelor party there. Like, I do want to live in that city at some point. It's a fantastic city.
Oh my gosh,
food's amazing. Never had a bad time in New Orleans.
Yeah, it's funny you say the food, because they literally, how it's like the freshman 15 typically, they actually call for Tulane the Tulane 20, because it's just like you can't, like, any corner you go to, it's just gonna be this good like Southern cooking, Cajun seasonings, and I actually bring like Tony seasonings out here. Like it's like a Cajun, you just gotta have it.
Of course.
So Tulane was good to me for sure. And then it's kind of like a city like this where people are gonna come visit. I don't know if it's for you specifically, but they support you and like make a trip out of it. So that was a lot of fun. Just always have people in and out of there, Mardi Gras and all that. So very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I feel like you've been placed in good locations, just generally, where you can see a little bit of everything and then have access to people. I think sometimes like overseas hoopers, you feel like you're really by yourself for 8 months because, people don't come visit and you're just focused on basketball. So it's really nice that you've been in locations that are accessible.
Right. And that's obviously the COVID era, like in Hungary, I didn't have the best experience because everything was kind of like closed off and all that. So I didn't really get a full experience of it. But on that one, that was our first year I actually lived alone. So that was another thing. I came from Germany where like all 6 of us kind of lived in this big house and we were super close. And then went to Germany and you live alone. And so it's definitely an adjustment. I'm not saying I don't like living alone or like prefer either way. That you kind of adjust. You like having people around, but then I became an introvert. I don't know if you know out here, but you have to learn. You have to learn how to, just kind of be cool with being on your own and get a book or you kind of, yeah, you can get kind of like wrapped in just like, oh, I'm just gonna watch Netflix for 8 hours, you know, and
Yeah.
it's just like,
Yep.
wow, you can feel like you're just losing brain, power because you're just like, I
Yeah.
feel dumb when I get home sometimes, but yeah, so you just kind of have to feed your mind with good stuff when you're out
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Well, I know from knowing you personally that you run a financial business on the side that kind of
Yeah.
helps you fill some of that time. So, talk to us about how you got into that and how you balance it with overseas basketball.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's honestly something I never really thought I'd be doing. Thought it was always just gonna be like basketball. So I had to kind of open that side of my brain up to like just kind of want to learn. And I did want to learn. That was kind of how I got into it, of just someone sat me down and I was just kind of like, my dad was my money guy, and I was just kind of sending, I didn't know what was happening with it and why I was paying taxes, and kind of very clueless at the beginning. So I just was like, educate me, right? Give me something.
Yeah.
I should have known this. I was a business school graduate and like should have known more than I did, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, I just kind of like, they dumbed it down for me, and I was like hungry to learn more and more, and just kind of kept doing research, and then just naturally started sharing it with my people, with you, and with just kind of like what I learned. And yeah, just kind of, and that's giving me a way to just communicate with people and have that social aspect when you're overseas, and Zoom and that face-to-face conversation. And yeah, just kind of build your mind with things that are meaningful for your future rather than like a soap opera,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in this career, I mean, this is you have a lot of time on your hands out here. It's this team, we only practice once a day, like mornings. So I'm literally done by the time anyone even back home's awake. And
Right.
so I can make a lot of those, we can make a lot of those calls and those connections and stuff like that. So yeah, it is good money just to have on the side and like a good backup plan. And that's kind of the blessing of the timing of it all, as well. As I started this last summer, when I didn't have a team, supposed to go in August. I didn't go until like end of December. So it was like 3 months. I was okay to, like, I told my agent, like, we're not going to just go desperately to go somewhere that, I don't feel like I need to. I'm not stressed for money. I have this other thing. Right. And so that kind of gave me the peace of mind to wait and the ability to be here in London now, right? Someone got injured and something like that. So I was able to kind of hop right into this, but wouldn't have had that, right, if I didn't have that, something else coming in.
Yeah.
So it's been really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Finance.
I'm curious on your advice to other hoopers that want to get overseas. Because you've kind of managed to put together a life where you do things outside of basketball that make you money. You're able to play, having a little bit of agency with your agent and telling him like, hey, we're going to wait to the best possible thing because you've kind of planned out this life and these goals. So what would your advice be to some of these college players that are in March Madness, probably going home tomorrow or the next day, but that want to play overseas and want to have a successful career?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, start just from the beginning, starting from my advice, honestly, for finding an agent probably wouldn't be good, but I got lucky. I got really lucky. I picked him out of like 4 people that reached out after season. And I literally picked him because he was the only one that I could understand the best through his accent on the phone. That was literally what I based it off of. So I got lucky. I'm having him literally for six years. Even when I got hurt, he was able to find me a team. And after COVID, he was able to find me a team. And he's just been really good and honest. And I would say kind of ask around, just ask other agents and ask other teams about these agents, because what I've noticed about mine is like agents love to talk mess about each other. And what I noticed about him is he never really bashes anybody. And then other agents actually don't really bash him. And that's like a really rare thing to find with that. But just, I mean, at the end of the day, you have them for a season, right? So like if it's not like the biggest decision, you're not like locked in for 4 years or anything. And with the agency part, but it's all about like having that respect and that having that good relation and that trust and just communicating, like if you need something, he's working for you, and he's going to do everything in his power. And then if he doesn't, you can't, like, I don't know. I've always just had a lot of grace with it. Right. And just like work with him I know he's working with me, and that's just like that mutual respect that comes with it. I don't know if that answered your question. I was more focused on like agent part.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But then like outside of the basketball part, I would just like into the basketball part, just like you said, like get out and like do other things is like my biggest thing. Meet people outside of the team would be one of my biggest like advice of don't just stay in your little circle, and there's just like so many cool people to learn with, and they know all like the nooks and crannies of like the cool little parts of cities are. And so just get out like at least like once a week and like do something in the city, you know, and even if it's cold, even if because it's cold weather, man, you just want to like stay inside all day. Yeah, that would be those would be my two little things.
Yeah. And what about
I was gonna say, like, as far as like playing, like I guess you started in Romania. What's something that you wish you would have like researched or known before, like going to some of the countries that you played in? Like, what was like the biggest culture shock in each place?
That is a good question.
Thank you.
Yeah, makes me think on that one. There's this one. This is just kind of a funny story. In Romania, actually, I didn't know it was like normal to have toilets like on the ground, and this toilet was just like on the ground. But the funny part is that like all 8 of my teammates, it was like we were on a road trip, and they had all went and like got out and went into the bathroom and came out with like no reaction, like it was normal. So when I get in there, I was just like, nobody wanted to have any comment about this. And so I literally you just squat in this thing. So that was like, they're like, oh yeah, they're all over the place. And I'm like, wow. So that would have been helpful to know. Practice that.
I completely remember my first time seeing that in Greece, and I was like,
what?
Oh my God. Like what's going on here? I think it's called Turkish toilets, but they're literally on the floor. And I just was like, I think I have to hold it. Like, I don't know.
Hashtag Turkish toilets. It's a new segment.
Yeah, Google that one. It is an experience.
Not a pretty sight. But yes, I completely hear you on that. Yeah, that would have been my culture shock for Greece. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's so funny. I'm trying to think of any more crazy things. The rules, I would say the rules in basketball have like little I've had a lot of my rookie year, just like a lot of crazy turnovers with like you can't go backcourt when you're passing in from the sideline, or there you can't have like 2 people on the free throw line. It's like 2 and 1, and like different things like that, where it's just like basic rules that you just never really thought.
Yeah, do your whole life.
Yeah, you can't call a timeout. I got like a technical because I called like my own timeout with the ball.
Yeah.
So players can't call timeouts, and just like weird things like that. Little. So I wish I knew, right? Just you
like the American.
Yeah, like the rookie, the rookie. So that's kind of funny to learn about all that.
Yeah, I mean that's my favorite thing to take advantage of in rec league. It's like end of it, like end of a game, we're up, it's a running clock. I'm absolutely fouling. Like, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry, it's strategy. Like, deal with it. I don't want to try that hard in defense. I'm gonna foul and waste 10 seconds."
So funny. You would be that guy. That is so funny.
Yeah, that is.
I have 3 more actually that I can do.
Right. Yeah. He's like, I'm trying to wrap this up.
Get a lead on your own. Like, work hard at the beginning of the game. Yeah, that's me. Take advantage.
Like a whole quarter left, just pass the ball around in rec league. No shot clock.
Yeah, well, they changed the rule the next season. They instituted a shot clock with no real shot clock. It's a guy yelling it out. It's ridiculous.
I hope the NCAA watches this and they can implement that. Just have a guy yell it out on the side with the shot clock. It doesn't need to be some big production.
This guy's getting paid $15 an hour to yell numbers.
Yeah, right.
Literally, hey, he probably loses his voice. That's a hard job.
Yeah, I can't imagine. And then what do you do when like someone gets an offense rebound, kick out, up, 3, 2, up?
Yeah, 4, I know, 5. Right?
Like,
he don't even know the rules. Yeah,
he doesn't.
That is funny.
Oh my goodness, that's funny. Leslie, obviously we're in March, so we got to talk about March Madness. What have you been paying attention to? What are some games that have really shocked you?
Yeah.
Dano and I haven't even really caught up on everything. Oh, look at your bracket. Yes, how is your bracket doing?
I only did the girls side.
Yep.
But I did it with a couple teammates too, and it's looking pretty good. Like even with Stanford losing, we're okay because they weren't even in my Final Four. I had
Oh,
Iowa in the Final Four. That's my team.
Okay.
So, yeah. So don't think they're gonna get past South Carolina, but it's kind of cool, like what Caitlin has done. Like I was just talking to one of my friends yesterday. Like I don't think Iowa would be. I don't think I would ever watch an Iowa game, right? Like never in my life would I put an Iowa game. But it was like kind of what she's done with that program, and just like how entertaining she is to watch. Like even my European, like my British player teammates are watching her. Like they've been watching her for the last couple of years, and so she's just what she's done and what she's done for herself and like her future. It's just like really incredible. So I love watching her. Caitlin Clark's a beast. But yeah, I love seeing all these new teams. Like Indiana, Virginia Tech. I love all that.
Yeah.
New kind of these new names. People I don't know. People might be sleeping on UConn because they just got like it's just UConn. They always figure out a way.
Right. Yes. Literally always.
But yeah, it's been fun to watch. A lot of these games are like at a good time for me because they're earlier in the day, and so I can watch like at least the early ones. So I've been keeping up with it, but not so much the men's side. But I've seen the upsets and I watch like the highlights and stuff. But
yeah,
I'm locked into the women's side.
Yeah. Well, me being a proud Jersey girl, I couldn't help but see how it was all the Jersey teams that have sent some of these Power 5 schools home early, like FDU, Seton Hall, both Princeton's. I was actually calling the Princeton men's basketball games this past season on radio. So I feel like, oh my gosh, like this historic run I'm high key part of because like I was there in the building blocks of it.
So cool. Yeah. I interviewed him and him.
right. Like that's my guy. Actually, we're cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. But very cool. Do you miss doing that? Do you miss if you weren't playing now, would you be like interviewing and doing the commentary and stuff for these March Madness games?
Yeah, I 100% think I would have gotten some games. Yeah, which would have been cool. It would have been probably like highest stakes games that I've ever called. Like I've done some tournament things here or there. But yeah, so I feel like that would be pretty cool. But I think the best thing just about March is like from the basketball mind perspective, like how some teams really are just bad matchups. Like you just understand that matchups become everything. Like it's less about scheme and different things like that. And then also the teams who have perfect or near perfect systems. Like it's not always about having the best players. I think we see that all the time, but just like if you get a solid system and the matchups are just a little bit in your favor, like you can really beat anybody. Yeah.
And like I even called the upset with Florida Gulf Coast because I'm just like I remember playing them and they have the exact same kind of system that they run of just like run and gun, pulling threes, right? Like 5 out, drive and kick, and they're all like they recruit all shooters, and so I knew like and I put them in an upset because I'm just like people sleep on them because they're just like they don't look athletic really, and like but they just have it down, and sure enough, I think it was like a 5 versus 11 seed or something. They beat Washington State, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So, you're so right about that. Just stick to what you know and hit shots. It's a good little recruiting model for sure. To get some shooters.
No, definitely.
Ole Miss head coach, Dice It Up guest, Coach Joe. I mean, just defense and athleticism also goes a long way. Like, I don't care what. I mean, I think scheme wise, you can't turn it over 3 times in the last minute of a game, and the traps, everything was absolutely perfect. Tara got coached out of her shoes, in my opinion. I'll say it. But I just think. Also, the pressure is another level for a lot of these players, even though some of the players that had a lot of mistakes are seniors. But I mean, there's nothing like it. It's the best. It's I'm so glad you get to watch.
Yeah, I mean, like you think about Stanford, right? You think about how technically sound they are and their system is perfect, but like under what pressure do they really play against the Pac-12? Like, what is a team in the Pac-12 that really plays defense, like defense first?
Yeah.
And so it's just like, it doesn't really, when you think about it like that, it doesn't surprise you that an SEC team that's all about defense, which you kind of have to be in the SEC, like all SEC teams have that in their DNA, where they like to defend. The South Carolinas, the Tennessees, like the Mississippi States. I started rooting for Mississippi State. Did you guys see the coach's video? When
yeah.
he was where he was like challenging, he was like, "Talk to me nice." He was challenging some of the famous people who did not put him on his bracket. So like he was like, called out Obama. He's like, "Obama, talk to me nice." Literally hilarious. Like my favorite video I've seen all week. Oh, it's gold. It's gold. It's gold.
I mean, Iowa was held to under 80 by Georgia, you know, like, well, I bet on Iowa to win by 10.
Yeah.
So super mad about that, but, you know, is what it is. LSU's defense was actually showed up yesterday too, holding Michigan under, I think, 45 points, like just masterclass.
We always struggled. We played LSU every year at Tulane. Like they were our rivals, and it was always such a low scoring game with them. It was just like 30s and 40s, like that. It was just crazy. We're like, how did we only score 4 points? Let's score. It was like crazy. Both teams, it was weird. It was like they did a lot of their zone back then, and but it was like an active weird zone that you like still couldn't get a shot off.
Yeah.
And now that they got a player going for like 20 and 20 every game, and it's not even a big deal anymore. Like
yeah. I know she's a beast.
Like this is what's needed to do to win. So we just need you to do it every night.
There's some fascinating matchups coming up. I don't know. Is there anything y'all are excited for? I mean, I love the thought of LSU versus Utah. Like just Alyssa Peely is amazing, but you know, going to be hard to beat LSU on the boards, and it's very rare they get beat on the boards. But the guard play from Utah also is just extraordinary. They both play with speed, but I think the amount of 3-point attempts that Utah gets up is way up there compared to LSU.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the. It's like I love watching like Virginia Tech. I haven't really watched a lot this season until this. Yeah, literally.
Yes.
This is how it started, and love their guard. The point guard for one, and then I think they play Tennessee, but I think I'm looking forward to that matchup.
Yeah,
as long as Tennessee beats Toledo, barring something crazy.
Oh yeah,
The Georgia Tech point guard is Australian. Her name is Georgia Amore. I was watching a lot. I watched their games in the ACC tournament, and they have been red hot. Like they have their last 6-7 games as a team, they have clicked like on all cylinders. I'm talking like beat Duke by 20, a team that prides themselves on like Kara Lawson defense, and made it seem like they were virtually just running practice plays against them. So I feel like they're red hot.
Right.
I would have loved the defense to be a little bit better. I had it under in that game, at 131.5. Of course, it finishes at 132.
Oh my gosh!
Awful beat. I put on Twitter, if this game doesn't go under, I said the night before, it doesn't go under, I got to get a tattoo. So I got to get a tattoo now.
Oh,
it's been one of those tournaments where the data's not working out, but you know, we move on. We're gonna go on a run here.
Who do you have? Like, who do you have in your Final Four?
I have Maryland, over South Carolina, just because everybody else has South Carolina winning it all, you know.
Are you hopefully not betting on that? Don't get another bet on that one. Just it down.
It's good. It's good to bet on that because, like, okay, like all I have to do is bet, you know, like $100 for South Carolina for Maryland to win that game, and I win like 1,300, right?
Yeah.
Because of the odds.
Yeah.
Now, what we've seen with South Carolina a lot is they can easily be down at half, and then live in the game, I just bet South Carolina like I did yesterday. They were only up, I think 6 at half.
Yeah.
Only up 6 at half and win by 31. So then I pivot. They don't always start that fast, but like I wouldn't sleep on Maryland. Like they're kind of nasty.
Maryland's always good, but Maryland's always good. I just feel like they're always respectable, but I just feel like it's been a while since they've hit like that next step, you know? Like, yeah. I feel like now we expect them to get to Sweet 16s, which like it's pretty impressive, obviously, if you're Brenda Freeze. But we expect them to get to Sweet 16s, you know, and then it's like,
Yeah.
if they don't get to Elite Eight, like we're not surprised. We're like, we expect
Yeah,
them to get to
yeah,
Sweet
yeah,
16.
exactly.
You know, that one of those. But who else do you have, Dano, besides South Carolina
yeah.
or Maryland?
I do have Iowa. I have Iowa beating my Horns.
Let's go.
I have Virginia Tech, and then who do I have from the other side? Oh, Indiana. Yeah, I have Indiana winning it all. I think Indiana's the most like balanced, sound team. They are a machine. It's beautiful basketball to watch. Didn't even have Mackenzie Holmes last game and still won by 30 against a team that could shoot the ball. Excited to watch it play tonight.
Nice. What about you guys?
You said you had Iowa over Texas?
To get to the Final Four, yeah.
Yeah, so I picked Vic Schaefer. I'm telling you, I just believe in that Texas defense, bro. Like I feel like come tournament time, like you always have a chance if you're Vic Schaefer and you have that level of defense. And I just feel like that's what he breeds. Like he brings that. Look at you.
I can't believe you believe in us.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
That's funny. Yeah.
I'm worried about tonight though.
I saw them early in the season in the Bahamas, and I'm just like, now I'm really a fan. Like I met you guys, I watched you, I called your games. Like we're actually cool. Like, but I believe in their philosophy, and I feel like they've been through a season where they got. Say it again.
So you saw them play Louisville. They played Louisville at that tournament.
Yes, yeah.
And Marquette.
Yep, I did. Yeah, because
so they
both of them
tonight.
had got upset and lost. Yeah. It was Ori Harmon also didn't play in that tournament, but still, it just was a lot of growing for them. But Texas, South Carolina, I agree with Indiana. Even though I haven't seen them a ton, I'm just like, I feel like they seem like they're calm, cool, and collected. Like they're going. But I have South Carolina winning it.
Same.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I just think that they've got I think they got a group of some of the best players and just the best system. And I think it's so hard. It's so hard to prepare for. And they just wear teams out. So
I like the Vic Schaefer, man. I went to like a Texas A&M camp when I was really young, and he was there. And we did he was just like defense only in like his group. And it was like the most intense camp I've ever been. It was just like a camp. I was like an 8th grade or like freshman, you know? And it was like, tonight! And like the ball would they were like, and then like, you know, you still get the ball even if you're denying sometimes. And he'd be like, do it again.
Yep.
Oh my God.
That's
he definitely instills it in them. And I just went to their Texas game when I was home, and he's like great energy. He's just like running up and down, and you can tell his players like really play with like for him, and he brings out the best for sure. So that's good. It's a fair one to have.
Yeah, I can see it. And I don't think the basketball world would be surprised. I think they would be like, he keeps getting here every year for a reason. So
true.
But I'm excited about it. It's been a really cool tournament. There are some upsets that I love the credit that Dawn Staley gave Norfolk. You know, just saying that they're not a 16 seed because some of these teams, they just constantly get put there because of how we do the tournament. But maybe those things need to change. Maybe criteria needs to be different. But Princeton, I know Princeton women's basketball, I had saw their 7 and 10 matchup, and I'm like, oh man, that's an upset. And I'm like, it's not really even an upset. Like they just play such good basketball. Yeah.
Nice.
But no, it's been definitely fun to watch. So what are your plans for the rest of your season? When does your season wrap up? When you guys looking forward to playoffs and things like that? And then the plan to get home?
Yeah, so I think mine's kind of a little later than like the most of my typical European seasons. We go to like mid-May, so we still have like 2 more months. But like it's kind of weird. A lot of these games that I wasn't here for in the beginning of the season, they like rescheduled, and so we have like 10 games in April. We only had like 4 a month, and now we're like just cramming it in all before playoffs. So April is gonna fly by. We're currently first in the league right now, so we should stay. We have our next week, we have our trophy final. It's kind of like we had our cup final, now we have a trophy final, and then we have a playoff final. So there's just we're supposed to get all the trophies, right? That's the plan. They're just like making up tournaments just because, you know.
Yeah.
We have that next week, like a final, and then we have finished out the rest of the regular season in April, and then it's only like 3 games for playoffs in May. So single elimination, and yeah, we just have 3 rounds, and so that'll go quick, once a week, and so I'll be out of here May 14th. May 14th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it's flying by, but I'm like, this is like the one time I'm like, can we slow down a little?
Yeah.
Some things, you know.
Like I'm in London.
Yeah. I do love it, and I've only been here for, I mean, honestly, the 8-month versus the 4-month season is just like mentally so much easier, and it's kind of the way to do it. But obviously can't always do it, but it's been easy in that regard of like, oh, I'm already about to go home, you know, I just got here type of thing. It's been good.
Awesome.
Been a good season. Yeah.
So, well, we wish you the best of luck on the rest of your season. Thanks so much for hopping on Dice It Up. Honestly, it's been mad fun talking to you.
So good.
No surprise though, that's why we had you on, because I was like, Dale's gonna love you, and I kept the Texan part a secret. You know, added that little surprise there for y'all.
Oh yeah, love it. I love it. And I love the Dice It Up too. That is very clever. Ice. I get it.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Thanks for having me. This was great. Good to see you as always. Let's do it again. Can't wait to hear the next people you got on here. I'm a follower now.
Love it.